It's a gorgeous South Florida morning here at the Palm Beach International. Perfect setting to test out the new Cooper Xeon RS3 G1 tires.
It's a pretty brave move to put these tires on straight-up race cars.
The racetrack is the perfect scenario for this particular tire.
All day they were great, super predictable on the breakaway.
The tires, they seem like they have a lot of grip. You'll get a lot of use out of the tires.
For 15 seasons, the Castrol Toyota Racing Series has led the way in New Zealand motorsport. With 170 drivers and 276 races so far, the graduates have made their mark in international motor racing. This is the pathway for the world's young drivers. And this series hits the racetracks of New Zealand for 5 weeks every year on the quest to find the next world champion.
Parker Thompson, Kyle Kirkwood, 1-2, great stop. Three. It's a sweep, back-to-back gap.
Road to Indy, race recap.
The month of May in Indianapolis is the biggest of the year for the NTT IndyCar Series with the running of the Indianapolis 500, and it's also huge for the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. The world's finest driver development ladder system is an exciting part of the action as the young Road to Indy drivers hit the ovals at both the iconic 2.5-mile Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the 5/8-mile banked Lucas Oil Raceway. The drivers of the Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires took to the big track for the 17th running of the Freedom 100. Andretti Autosport's Robert McGinnis laid down a pair of extremely quick laps during single-car qualifying, winning the pole with a 2-lap average speed of 194.206 miles per hour. The start of the Freedom 100 was all that everyone expected, firing up 40 laps of constant action. A scary incident on lap 2 brought the race to an early halt when David Malukas lost the rear of his BN Racing Dallara IL-15 and spun in turn 2, collecting Belardi Auto Racing's Chris Windham in the process. Both cars made hard impact with a safer barrier, but thankfully both David and Chris were uninjured. The remainder of the race was edge-of-your-seat action, as 4 drivers officially led laps, but the fight for the win came down to a final lap shootout between Andretti Autosport teammates Ryan Norman and Oliver Askew. Norman sensed the need to pass Askew for the lead on the final run down the back straight, knowing that those behind him were using the draft to close up quickly. And Ryan's move to the point set up a final drag race to the line. Flat-footing it through turn 4, Askew leveraged his momentum to tuck in behind Norman, and he would edge him at the line in yet another thrilling Freedom 100 finish. In victory lane, Askew was overcome with disbelief and emotion while celebrating his 3rd win of the 2019 Indy Lights season with his enthusiastic family and team. Just 6 miles west of IMS, the USF2000 and Indy Pro 2000 teams and drivers tackled the challenging Lucas Oil Raceway as part of the Carb Night Classic. Exclusive Autosport's Daniel Frost was the class of the Indy Pro 2000 field, dominating every session on both Thursday and Friday. The rookie from Singapore topped qualifying with a 2-lap average speed of 120.484 miles per hour, 1.5 miles per hour quicker than his closest competition. In the race, Frost was not challenged en route to a 4.8-second win in the Freedom 90, his first victory on the road to Indy. Juncos Racing finished 2nd and 3rd, led by an impressive drive from Stingray Robb, who worked his way past Kyle Kirkwood on lap 48 to take a well-deserved 2nd. Point leader Rasmus Lint put Kirkwood back 1 more spot, getting past the reigning USF2000 champion on the final lap to take the 3rd step on the podium, maintaining his point lead in the process. In the USF2000's Cooper Tires Freedom 75, Newman Walks Racing's Cameron Shields took the lead from the outside of the front row at the green, moving pole sitter Colin Kaminsky back to 2nd. Shields handled the race with relative ease, managing a pair of restarts to score a 1.5-second win over Legacy Autosport's Alex Barron, who advanced to 2nd from his 5th place starting position. Pabst Racing's Kaminsky completed a strong effort with an impressive 3rd place result to complete the podium. After a pair of events in May, the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires will now take a 1-month hiatus before reconvening at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin in late June.
Ohio.
Smart coming through that corner. So there you go, folks. The call to fire. Steve Knapp lighting them up. Engines firing here on pit lane. It's time to go racing with USF2000.
Thank you, Rob. It's going to be a fantastic race weekend here for the Rev Group Grand Prix of Road America, presented by AMR, the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship, with elite engines on board. And we've got plenty of racing action for you throughout the afternoon here at Road America. This is our first race of the afternoon. We'll go to Indy Pro 2000 next at about 12:55 this afternoon. Indy Lights at 1:50, and then qualifying for the NTT IndyCar Series yet to come your way this afternoon from America's National Park of Speed. Just a few quick touch point announcements for you. Don't forget the Battery Tender Global Mazda MX-5 Cup Drivers autograph session from 1 o'clock to 1:30 just across from Victory Lane, just across the Starters Bridge. And also David Hobbs and Bert Levy in the Paddock Shop signing autographs with their books available on sale as well at the Paddock Shop right now. So autographs for Battery Tender Global Mazda MX-5 Cup Drivers at 1 o'clock, right across from Victory Circle. David Hobbs, Bert Levy. Books are available at the Paddock Shop, and they'll be signing autographs and signing your books throughout the middle part of this afternoon, just past the noon hour here, as we get set to go racing for the Road to Indy with the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship. Again, Colin Kaminsky, the number 23 machine, on the pole. Alex Barron residing in Port Washington, Wisconsin, will start outside. McElroy in the 22, Keene in the 2, Silliman in the 12, Shields in the 73. Lots of different laps that we saw in Q1 on about a qualifying session about this time yesterday, and qualifying this morning, Q2 for race number 2 for tomorrow. That grid is going to be shaped quite considerably different than it is today. But Braden Eves going to have a hard road to hoe coming from the 8th spot in that number 8 machine. Not a starting position that he was looking for, but he'll have to work some traffic to try to get up front to try to win this one with the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship and the Road to Indy here from Road America. The Cooper Tires Grand Prix of Road America, powered by Elite Engines. We have some special guests as well on our flag station, waiting for these drivers to come around. We want to welcome Tony Singer, guest of Elite Engines, will be our honorary green flag starter for this Cooper Tires Grand Prix of Road America, powered by Elite Engines. Welcome to Tony Singer. So as the field starts to take shape behind the Mazda safety car is working the backside of the racetrack, and I don't care what they say and who they say it about, the fastest man in sports is Rob Howden. From the grid to the booth, 90 seconds.
And, well, I had a cart, and I was pressing the horn quite a bit, and everybody got out of my way, so I do appreciate that. Yeah, we made it.
The fastest seat in sports may be tomorrow morning before the NTT IndyCar Series, but you have the fastest golf cart, I think, here at Road America this weekend.
I had a golf cart. I know that a couple sections tomorrow I don't get the golf cart. It'll be busy at Victory Lane, so I'll be running. So that'll be interesting. But listen, 18 drivers set to go. So many of them, this really is only their 4th session on this track, Eric. That's the key thing. They got the practice session on Friday. They've had a couple of qualifying runs. They really don't know how to race this track yet. I think that's one of the key points to bring up. They haven't found out where the big overtakes are, how to defend. This is going to be really interesting. This first lap will obviously be a little crazy.
Well, we've certainly got a lot of laps around Road America this weekend so far with the practice sessions and certainly the qualifying session, but this is really the first session in anger for some of these youngsters.
This is it, yeah. Again, that's that their spotters, their teams are going to be on the radio calming them down a little bit. They've talked about which drivers are around them on the grid, trying to potentially go through some of the characteristics, the driving styles of those who they'll be wheel to wheel with. Because as you know, if any of fans here before have watched a Road to Indy race, these cars are a little smaller than the Indy cars. We're going to see 2, 3, maybe 4 wide coming down into turn number 1. It'll be 2 wide into 3. It'll be 4 wide or 3 wide into 5. This opening lap, you talked about it, Eric, in qualifying. talking about the chaos that can happen midway through the pack. If you want to qualify up front to stay away from that potential chaos, say, row 4 and back.
And we were talking about Braden Eves qualifying 8th, not exactly where he wants to be at the start of this race number 1.
Here they come, though, at turn number 14. Ladies and gentlemen, the first of 6 Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tire events here at Road America this weekend. They will climb that hill, a very unique start here as they get ready to roll up. They can't even see the start. They'll rely on the spotters telling the green flags flying. We are getting set to go right now. We have one of our guests up on the stand to throw that green, and we are looking for it here, and indeed we're underway. Green, green, green. First race with Road to Indy. Great start for Colin Kaminsky. He'll jump out into the P1 position from the pole, but always tough to defend. Big run down. Look at, we are 2-3 wide indeed. Can we get through turn 1 cleanly? Drivers being smart so far. Turn 1. Tough corner, very quick coming through. They'll come under the Briggs & Stratton Bridge down to turn number 3. The kink turn 2 down to turn number 3. 3-driver breakaway early. Hunter McElroy slots in to that second position. Driver slowing further back. Not quite sure which driver that is. 27 potentially of Matt Round-Garrido. We'll try to figure out who that is. That actually might be the number 2. Is that the 2 of Darren Keene? Not quite sure. We'll update that, folks. Could be Darren Keene.
Puff of smoke coming out of the back as well. That car
that's not Keene. So we're going to keep an eye on things, folks. We're just trying to watch our live timing. We have a particular screen that shows us the cars moving around the actual track itself. That's a lot of the ways we're able to pick up if a driver is stranded somewhere. We'll try to give you the update when they come back around again. Again, up through turn 5. Here they come down into turn number 8 for the first time. Again, a good start there for Kaminsky. McElroy second. Looks to me like Manuel Suleiman slotted into the 3rd position. A driver coming back. I think that's Darren Keene in the number 2. He started in the 4th spot. Keene had some issues. Not sure what happened in 1. But he is well off the pace. Well, not off the pace, but at least only right now coming through turns number 6. And look, it looks like he and the number 14, Alex Barron, potentially getting together. Alex Barron, they're both well off and behind based on what we have on our screen here. First time down into the kettle bottoms. This is when they really start getting at it. That's a tough part of the racetrack, Eric, because it's a straightaway. You're on full throttle, but the way it kind of twists back and forth, you're coming from side to side of the racetrack.
It's typically what we call a Wisconsin straightaway. It has several curves in the middle of the road.
Okay.
But it's unique in the fact that you are flat out, even though you are just making a slight correction to the car to go through that. That corner set, what we call the kink through 11 and then kettle bottoms, but certainly a battle up front right now as well.
So they're coming through now, and just looking at our screen here, it looks to me potentially like the number 2 is further back and the number 14 is further back. I'm going to try to pick up both Darren Keene and Alex Barron. I got to believe that they probably got together coming through turn number 1 because they were well off the pace coming down. We saw one driver slowing into 2 and 3. Kaminsky with the lead, though, now. He jumps out front. Hunter McElroy sits second. Of course, that's when they cross the line. Then Christian Rasmussen into 3rd spot. Manuel Suleiman 4th. Cameron Shields up to 5th. Braden Eves in 6th spot. Barrichello 7th. Sundaramurthy in 8th. Crawford 9th. And Tomaselli now 10th.
So Keene was, in fact, dropped back to 16th. He was slow at the start, but Round-Garrido still has not come around, and Alex Barron on pit lane.
Yeah, trying to see if there's any damage to the car of Alex Barron. He'll come to the attention of his crew down here on pit lane, so not what they wanted to start there for Legacy Autosport. Barron down in P18, Keene back up, but again, he's well back, 26 seconds behind the next group. He'll need a full course yellow to get himself back in the fight, so Darren Keene was looking to come in here to try to score that first win. Came off a pretty good couple of runs at the IndyCar GP week and the road course event at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and then had a decent run, a top 10 run as well on the oval at Lucas Oil Raceway. Came in 3rd in points, but I'm going to say, obviously a guess, but the two drivers, they started side by side, likely contact over in turn number 1. Kaminsky had the lead last time by. I want to get a look to see if it's still Kaminsky. It is, yeah. Then the Soul Red Mazda of the scholarship winner, Hunter McElroy from New Zealand, running in 2nd. I talked to Hunter during the Indy Lights qualifying session on IndyCar Radio and asked him, listen, you know what? You came in here, you've had some good runs, but you haven't won yet. How much pressure are you putting on yourself to get that first victory? And his comment was really interesting. Number 1, he said, likely too much. And I think when you think about a championship battle, you don't need to keep winning. You need good finishes. So likely too much was his call. He said this is the longest he's gone without a race win. He's tucking now into the back, the draft of his teammate Colin Kaminsky. They're going to make that run down into turn number 1. When we see him try to potentially tuck in for the pass down into turn number 1 here, he does. He's through. New leader, Hunter McElroy, has taken the lead away from Colin Kaminsky. But let's just say this, Eric, they have pulled away to a 1-second lead. As a couple of teammates starting up front like that in first and third, nose to tail at the start, they sat down in the trailer and said, let's just pull away from the field, make it a 2-driver race.
A little bit of a plan of attack. Now it's just a matter of battling it out amongst yourselves, which is obviously the goal for this weekend. But Rasmussen currently in the 3rd spot, Suleiman 4th, Shields running 5th, Eves currently 6th, Barrichello 7th.
Well, the crazy thing here, too, is you had to think they were going to sit down. They're like, okay, we've got you and I on the inside, 1st and 3rd. You've got Barron and Keene on the outside, 2nd and 4th. These are the guys we're going to be battling with, right? No. Obviously, Keene and Barron get together. So the 2 primary guys that were right around them at the start, they're the ones that have had the issues. Christian Rasmussen moving in the Jay Howard driver development machine. He's able to get by Suleiman. So put Rasmussen now up into the 3rd spot. Suleiman back to 4th. Cameron Shields 5th. He's got Braden Eves right on the rear deck. Indeed, coming through the carousel, the white and orange car for Newman Walks, and the primarily white with a bit of black car for Braden Eves in the 8-ball. Number 8 machine for Cape Motorsports. Field settling in for what looks to be a pretty good battle. We got the 2 teammates as well from Pabst Racing, just like the Kaminsky and McElroy up front. You've got Sundaramurthy and Tomaselli, the other 2 drivers of the foursome, the quartet at Pabst running 8th and 9th. Those will be good finishes for both of those drivers. Jack Crawford now up into the 10th position. Reese Gold runs 11th. Jack Miller in 12th. Famularo 13th. Siegel 14th. Bogle 15th. Keene just turned fast lap of the race at 2:11.204. He's back, as we said, in 16th. 22 seconds back, but lots of time still to go, and he is trying to see if he can't get back forward here.
Plenty of time in this one. Obviously over, about 10 laps to go or so roughly, but all it's going to take is for someone to make a mistake. You get a yellow, and he gets right back into it, staying on the lead lap. Alex Barron looks like back on course as well, underneath the Corvette bridge up into turn 6.
Here's the 2 drivers from Pabst side by side through turn number 1. Tomaselli looked to the inside of Sundaramurthy. They'll go side by side coming down the hill again. Not sure if she got by or not, but they're battling it out there as well with Jack Crawford in that blue and white D-Force Racing entry. So Crawford puts himself, I think he's up to 9th, either Sundaramurthy or Tomaselli gets shuffled down to 10th. Famularo coming in. Famularo in the number 28 machine for BN Racing. Anthony Famularo started in the 17th position. He'll come to pit lane as well, so that'll move Darren Keene up another spot. Keene again trying to see if he can't salvage some points here. It's been a rough season for Keene. They had a bit of a transponder issue in the opening race. At St. Petersburg, he had the pace to qualify on pole, but no transponder, so he wasn't able to get a time in. They finally got him in, and I think he was able to get 1 timeout once they got it fixed. So he had to start at the tail of the field, even though he's the fastest driver. Worked his way up to the top 10, led essentially the entire race 2 at St. Petersburg, then just got a little tight on the kind of a defensive line in the final corner. Rasmussen was putting the pressure on him, and he looped the car around, he and Rasmussen getting together. Keene coming back with a couple of good finishes at the IndyCar road course event at IMS, but he needs a big win. That's what he needs. He needs to get that monkey off the shoulder, get that win, and move forward. McElroy still your leader. Kaminsky runs in 2nd. Rasmussen 3rd. Suleiman 4th. Shields, Eves, and Barrichello. That's 5th, 6th, and 7th. Again, Darren Keene, where is he now? We'll see when he comes back around. I think he's still probably about another 15 or 16 seconds behind Christian Bogle. When we saw him come back in turn number 1, turn 2, it's like he might have got shuffled off the racetrack, potentially into the gravel a bit, because it looked like there was some smoke or dust, and then able to get, the tires cleaned back off. Obviously, no issues at all for the car of Darren Keene. It's down to a 211 flat. Leader just did a 210.8 to go quick, so he's got the speed. So does Matt Round-Garrido in the number 27. He did a 2:11 flat as well. Matt Round-Garrido running for BN Racing this weekend. Keene, another fast lap. 2:10.7, about a tenth quicker than the leaders. So that's something he'll have to hold on to wherever he finishes here. 8 laps still to go. He's got to say to himself, we have a car that can come back and win tomorrow.
Interesting to note, looking at timing and scoring, Matthew Round-Garrido listed in 16th. And transponder may not be working. It's showing that he's actually in a yellow position, but he's on the race course. We've seen him go by a few times now, completing 4 laps as well for Garrido. So evidently something amiss with our tracking device on the 27 machine.
He's with Keene. I think that both of those drivers are running together, trying to come back up through the field, and that would be good for both of them. Obviously, Round-Garrido with a chance to stay in the draft of Darren Keene. They currently run 15th and 16th. We'll continue to watch that. Hunter McElroy looking for that first win, though, as I said, was not able to score the wins despite being very quick on the streets of St. Petersburg. Had a really good run. He battled for the lead. He was another double podium finisher. 4 podiums to start the season at the road course race in Indianapolis. Actually tagged the wall on this first lap of qualifying on the oval at Lucas Oil Raceway for the Freedom 75, and that really hurt him. Put him further back in the pack at the very tail of the field, and that's tough to come through a field like that racetrack. Unless you have the car working perfectly on the bottom part of the racetrack, it's just hard to move forward. So didn't get the result he needed there, but a win would definitely put him back in the fight, even though Braden Eves, with 4 straight wins to start the season, has a pretty comfortable lead early. Eves currently running in 5th. Cameron Shields has gone to 4th. They've been able to get by Rasmussen, so put Cameron Shields up into 4th position. But here goes, I believe, Eves coming to the inside. Braden Eves, I think, making a move to the inside of Cameron Shields coming up here. They're both closing on Suleiman. Not quite enough for Eves. And this is where Braden Eves needs to kind of relax a bit. He's got that massive point lead, right? So there's no real need for him to really get aggressive. You don't want to take yourself out here now. A 40-something point lead, 41 points or 42 points, I believe, the lead. Relax. A top 5 will work, right? As they stand right now, even if he finishes in the 5th position, he's still going to have a massive lead of about 26 points. And that's key. Manage your position. Manage your position in the championship. If you don't have the best car, don't throw it away. That's Cameron Shields. He's been able to get by Suleiman. He'll defend a bit coming up the hill to turn number 6. Shields goes to P3.
Shields with a nice job holding that really defensive line straight up the middle of the hill. Wasn't allowing Eves to get, or Suleiman rather, to get back to the left or back to the right. But a nice job there staying in 3rd.
Here they come down to turn number 8 as well. Now Braden Eves is going to go to work on Suleiman. But that was just a good pass under the braking into turn number 5 for the Aussie Cameron Shields. Goes into P3, comes out of the corner. He makes the first move all the way back across to the racetrack. They'll work their way now through the carousel. It looks to me like Shields pulling about 2 or 3 car lengths as they come through that very crucial and challenging part of this racetrack. That right-hand, essentially constant radius carousel, downhill run, which really, as Eric has detailed a couple of times, part of that crucial run from 8 all the way over to Canada Corner.
And it falls away on you. It's just slightly off camber, so it feels like you're just chasing the car, just to unwind it, to open your hands up a little bit on exit.
I agree with that. That's it's a tough part of the racetrack, and there's the battle you're seeing coming up out of Canada Corner and through Billy Mitchell Bend. That is now Suleiman under pressure from Braden Eves. That's the fight now for 4th position. Here come your leaders back up the hill. Great lead here for McElroy. Kaminsky running 2nd. 3rd is Shields. 4th, Suleiman. 5th, here comes Braden Eves. How close is he as they come up the hill? Start, finish. Yeah, within a length. He's going to go to the outside. He makes the move to the outside. Suleiman keeping that blue car to the inside. It'll be Eves to the outside. Does he get it done coming into the braking zone? He does.
Closes the door. Nice job to the outside.
Yeah, great pass. There's another pass further back. I want to say, let's pick that up. That's a potentially, I think that was Bogle going at it with maybe Siegel. No, I'm not sure. We'll pick that up. That looked to me like potentially a D-Force car. Reese Gold's having a fight with Jack Miller and Yuvan Sundaramurthy as well. Now we got some really strong racing. 2 wide on different parts of the grid all the way back, coming through turns 3 over to turn 5. Here's the fight down again. There's that gap between now 3rd and 4th. There's 5th, 6th, and 7th right there. That's Rasmussen and Tomaselli. Look at this battle. 5 drivers going at it. I want to say that's Crawford, Barrichello, Sundaramurthy, and Reese Gold. That is 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Leaders working into the carousel underneath the quad bridge into what we call Speedville. Turn 9 and 10 here at the carousel. Leaders now working the backside of the racetrack on the exit to 10.
6 down, 6 to go, right at the halfway point of what is a 12-lap race, a long lap here, of course, over 4 miles at Road America. We don't normally run just 12 laps, but it's more on distance. 12 laps or 40 minutes is the maximum time slot that we get for USF2000. Hunter McElroy, as I said, maybe foreshadowing a little bit in the interview we did on IndyCar Radio about the fact that he has been really pushing himself to try to get the victory and maybe just relaxing and letting it happen a little bit, trusting in the process, trusting in his Pabst Racing team. And that squad currently running first and second. McElroy leads, Kaminsky in second. Go back as well to Bruno Tomaselli in seventh and Yuven Sundaramurthy in 10th. All 4 of the Pabst cars within the top 10 now.
McElroy still putting a little bit of distance on, nearly 2 seconds now over Colin Kaminsky. Kaminsky about another 2 seconds back to Shields. Kind of minding the gap right now for Kaminsky, holding station in the 2 spot.
Same goes with the gap between Shields and Eves, about a little over a half second, about 0.6 of a second last time by Eves, quicker by about a 10th. So at this point, Braden Eves still pushing. He is, again, the point leader, adding a bit to it this time. 32 points would be the lead if he finishes in 4th, and Hunter McElroy into that P1 position. Further down, Darren King would fall. He's in the 15th position right now. Christian Bogle able to get by him. And looking at the lap times, we're going to try to see if... no, that's right. It was Ground Garrido was right behind Keen. Keen now to within 10 seconds of Bogle, faster by about 3 seconds last time by. You know what? Keen may be able to get on another spot, but as it stands now, as they run, he would be significantly behind, almost, I want to say about 70, 80 points actually behind Braden Eves.
Side-by-side battle out of the turn 6 complex. Believe that might be Siegel.
Here's this great fight further back. Those 4 drivers going at it. Yeah, I think that's probably Siegel. No, who would that might have been, was that Barrichello coming through? Hard to pick up some of the cars here with the vantage points we have on some of these lockdown cameras. McElroy still turning really good lap times, mid-210s. Everybody else behind him, 211s. He's just knocking them out. And that's one of the things he and I talked about as well about qualifying. I asked him whether his race car was good. Because anybody, you can go out there and do what you got to do to put that one big lap down. And what he said was as he was getting his fast lap in qualifying, every lap was just a little bit better and a little bit better, and the balance just felt so good. And he's got that going now. He's got the consistency of mid-210s, which is key in pulling away as the leader. You don't want to have any ups and downs. You want to hit that good pace, settle into the groove. 5 laps to go now. In fact, I think it'll be 4 when they come back around. Indeed, 4 laps to go for McElroy. I like this battle coming up the hill right now. I want to see who that is. Let's pick that up. Here they come across the line. That's the 27 kicking things off.
That was Barrichello coming through in 6.
Okay, so I wonder whether or not Matt Round Garrido, we've got him down here. Remember you said he had a transponder issue? He's ahead of those drivers. That's the transponder issue. So Keen is, I think, is still by himself on the racetrack. Round Garrido, I think, is further forward. He's in the 27. Now, he's battling it out in that battle with Reese Gold, I think, as well. That's interesting. Okay, so a little bit mixed up there with the 27. We'll try to give you a better update on Matt Round Garrido because I don't think he's actually where he is on the timesheets.
Because Barrichello just got around Reese Gold in turn 6, the lap prior, and now battling with Crawford in the 52 machine for that 8th and 9th spot.
Yeah, we'll go visual on that for Matt Round Garrido, those of you potentially listening to his progress and watching this coverage over in England. Look, that's the lead right there, though, for Hunter McElroy, the Kiwi, out front of his teammate Kaminsky. Braden Eves continues to chip away. Both drivers turning 211s, he and Cameron Shields. Shields, of course, the win at the Oval. Are you picking it up there, Eric?
Yeah, it looks like Barrichello's dropped a spot potentially here.
We'll give you an update. When they come back across the line, we're going to try to find out where Matt Round Garrido in the 27 is actually slotting in to give you a better indication of where things are. Darren Keene continues to try to close here on Christian Bogle. 4 laps remaining. It'll be 3 to go next time by. Here's a tremendous battle down there coming over to Canada corner. So we pick that up as they work their way into the corner. Here, indeed, it is a defensive run on the inside. I think that could be Rasmussen trying to hold off Tomaselli. Yeah, that's that battle. That's Christian. Look at Tomaselli trying the outside. Bruno Tomaselli, that's the fight for 6th and 7th. Here come your leaders. Let's pick up Matt Round-Garrido as they come through here. Hunter McElroy will come across the line in front of us, looking good there on the Mazda machine. That's P1. Kaminsky in 2nd. 3rd is Shields. 4th, Eves. 5th is Suleiman. Next group coming up the hill here. Trying to find the 27 of Matt Round-Garrido. There's Gold. There's 40, 41, 36. Siegel just came by in 13th.
Car in pit lane as well.
Oh, we got a driver in pit lane, as you said. We'll pick up who that is. That's actually Matt Round-Garrido.
Well, we found him.
We're trying to pick him up for those following Matthew, and he is out in the pit lane. So put Darren Keene now up into the 15th spot. He's about 7.8 seconds behind Christian Bogle, now 3 seconds quicker a lap. He's trying to eat in here with just 3 laps to go. Chance for him to potentially get another spot. So again, 3 to go, and it's a 3-second lead for Hunter McElroy. Very impressive up front here. Again, good run for this young Kiwi driver, trying to get that first victory. And this is something, folks, I know you've watched this. If you're a racing fan and you've followed the road to Indy at all, anytime a young driver breaks through and gets that first victory, we can see more of them coming. So, of course, think about this. Hunter McElroy for Pabst Racing qualified P3 for race number 1. Only his 2nd session on this racetrack. Practice, qualifying 1. He qualified 3rd. His 3rd session on the racetrack qualifies P1. 4th session this race. He's now leading by over 3 seconds. He starts pole tomorrow. This could be one of those weekends where you get a double race win and you come out with a ton of momentum. Now, we've had some gaps. We had the first race at St. Petersburg. These drivers weren't back on track till 2 months later in the middle of May. Not so much of a gap now. We go back in just 3 weeks' time to the streets of Toronto. 14 of Alex Barron back in the pit lane and back out. He's been turning laps, but back in again. But again, this is the thing about Hunter McElroy. If he gets on a run, starts getting the confidence, he gets that connection, he could be somebody to take a run at Braden Eves.
Be the white silk next time by for Hunter McElroy.
Yeah, as they run on the racetrack now, the lead for Eves in the points would be cut down to 28 markers, just 28 points between 1st and 2nd. You look at it as well. Colin Kaminsky then would jump up into 3rd as they run. Manuel Suleiman would go to 4th. I believe Cameron Shields to 5th. And that would drop Darren Keene down to 6th. He'll be looking for a recovery tomorrow as well. Those of you guys who are around the racetrack, enjoying yourself, having a cold beer, whatever it may be, nice cocktail for a great race here. We got more to come for you. We're going right into the Indy Pro 2000 event as well. We'll be right into the introductions for Indy Pro and those 13 drivers getting set to roll at it. It's going to be a fantastic race. Parker Thompson starting on the pole position of the first of 2 Indy Pro 2000 races. Our leader, Hunter McElroy, is going to see the white flag this next time by. We're knocking this one out nicely. The driver's doing a great job. And really, and Eric, we haven't really had a chance to talk about it, but this is what we want for these young drivers. We want a green to checker race. We want them to get max laps, all about development and getting the seat time they need. Tremendous run for Hunter McElroy. I know the family back in New Zealand will be just pumped for this one. In fact, the lower hemisphere doing pretty good. We got New Zealand and Australia potentially on the podium here as Cameron Shields trying to hold off Braden Eves. So McElroy
we're looking at a replay of contact. That's Barrichello going around.
Now that's Barrichello and Nolan Siegel.
Actually, that may be Miller in the 40.
Was that the 40?
That is the 40.
Yeah, that was Jack Miller probably trying to make a move to the inside. Contact made coming through the corner there. So that was a battle for 12th and 13th. Nolan Siegel and Jack Miller, as you said. Here comes the leaders up the hill. White flag flying, 1 to go for Hunter McElroy. He will not be able to say that he has yet won on the road to Indy, trying to get that first victory. Look at the battles we got going on here, though. This is tremendous to watch. Couple of fights. Eves has closed up to within 0.3 of a second. Just turned the fast lap. He's trying to go after Cameron Shields. You've got Bruno Tomaselli battling it out with Jack Crawford.
Tomaselli's actually charging Crawford into turn 1. A good battle there for the drag race down into turn 1.
See if we pick it up for you.
Don't think Crawford gave up the spot, but she was charging hard.
Coming back down the hill. There's the fight right there. That's the two drivers, the D-Force driver and one of the Pabst Racing entries. Again, there's further back. I think you're right. I think potentially, potentially Tomaselli got by Crawford there, coming down into turn number 1 and 2, because Sundar Murthy's going at it with Reese Gold. Great wheel-to-wheel racing. A bunch of two-driver battles here, them squaring off on the final circuit. Let's see as they come back around. Still about a 4-second lead now for Hunter McElroy, but I think we may have a battle for the final position on the podium as well, as Braden Eves trying to go after Cameron Shields.
And Hunter McElroy going to come around to try
there
to see that checkered flag from John Scardina, guest of Elite Engines, our guest checkered flag for this afternoon.
Check this out, though. They're actually closing up a little bit here as well on second place running Kaminsky. Last time by, Shields was quicker by about 0.4 of a second. He's only a second back right now.
Local yellow in turn 12 for a car in the gravel. I believe that is the 6 machine.
Of Rasmussen. Remember, he was running up there in the 6th position, so he goes in the gravel. This is the final circuit, though, for Hunter McElroy. Here's, I think, a replay of the incident we're talking about.
Under braking and got punted.
That was, I think, Crawford getting into the back of, they're not going to like that one. Crawford into the back under braking. But here come the leaders up the hill. Let's cap this one off. We'll go back to that in a second. Coming up the hill out of turn number 10, 11, 12, and 13, your leader coming up the hill. Ladies and gentlemen, he is no longer one of the drivers who cannot say that he has a road to Indy victory, because the winner today, a Road American USF2000, Hunter McElroy, getting the win. McElroy winning by 3.5 seconds. Cameron Shields for Newman Walks Racing coming into third. Colin Kaminsky, another podium, his second straight podium. Third at the Lucas Oil Raceway Freedom 75. He's second place here today. Cameron Shields heads up in third. Braden Eves in fourth. Manuel Suleiman in fifth spot. Bruno Tomaselli in sixth. Jack Crawford in seventh. The contact between he and Rasmussen in the braking zone of turn number 12, Canada corner. We saw that replay as he got to the back of Rasmussen and looped him around.
Let's take a look at that again, Rob, if we can.
It looks to me like, obviously, the run to the inside. Crawford's trying to make a move across.
Just before the contact, though, it looks like Crawford was on the binders and that car shuttled side to side. It looked like it may have locked up the rears a little bit and just had a little bit more momentum coming into 12.
And to the potentially more to the outside of the track is Crawford. Let's watch it coming in. Let's see if we can pick up that wiggle that Eric talked about. They're going to slow it. The car, you know what it is? He got on the brakes and then decided he was going to go to the inside, make the move. And I think if he got a little squirty, like you said, missed the braking, got into the gearbox, because that was just one of those straight gearbox touches where it just rotates Rasmussen's car in the counterclockwise direction, and boom, he's done.
And that's hard contact for Rasmussen as well into the turn 12 barrier.
That's going to be right rear. That's going to be the rear wing. We saw the contact there hitting the barrier. That wasn't just a gravel trap run. That was a run into the concrete wall, dropping him out of what would have been a good, sixth place. Tomaselli able to take advantage of that and get by Crawford up into turn number 1. You had mentioned the fact that she got a great run. So Tomaselli in 6th, Crawford in 7th, Sundar Murthy 8th, Reese Gold 9th, and Eduardo Barrichello rounding out the top 10. All that chaos brings Darren Keene back up to 12th. He gets another 3 or 4 points, so kind of limiting the damage for Darren Keene. But Hunter McElroy, folks, 3.5 seconds. He is your winner. Colin Kaminsky, there you see it on the screen. Kaminsky second. Cameron Shields, another podium for him coming off that win at Lucas Oil Raceway. So Pabst Racing with a couple of podium drivers, first and second. Newman Walks Racing in third. Braden Eves, a good recovery after starting 8th. He ends up in 4th. Manuel Suleiman for D-Force Racing in 5th. Bruno Tomaselli 6th. Jack Crawford 7th. Yuvan Sundar Murthy in 8th. Reese Gold at 9th, and Eduardo Barrichello rounding out your top 10. Great racing up front for sure between the two Pabst drivers early, but this came down to Hunter McElroy just doing what he told me he could do, was turn consistent laps and be able to pull away.
It really, lap 1 or 2, once he got around Kaminsky, it was just head down, elbows up, and maintained about a 2 to 3 second lead throughout that entire session. At the end, it was 3.5 seconds gap back to Kaminsky. Another second and a half back to Shields. So an interesting finish there. Hunter McElroy really doing a nice job getting situated and making sure that he maintained the lead there. Rob, we'll send you back down to pit lane here shortly as well.
Real quick, though, we just got an update. I guess they've made an official call, a 30-second penalty for Jack Crawford with the contact with he and Rasmussen. Let's just look at the overall time. Can we do that? 30 seconds for Crawford. That's going to drop him 40. Yeah, he's going to go all the way back into the 15th position, so move everybody else back up a position. 30-second penalty for Jack Crawford for the contact going in to turn number 12. So tough one, of course, for Christian Rasmussen. A pretty stiff penalty for Crawford, but, man, that's contact in the final circuit.
You typically don't argue with race control in that one, and I don't think I would argue that one either. I mean, that was pretty significant contact with Rasmussen.
So here is Hunter McElroy coming into victory lane. Tremendous run for Hunter in the Mazda-sponsored car. Again, he won the scholarship last year. His first victory here in USF2000. Tremendous run for Hunter McElroy as he wins over Colin Kaminsky. And, of course, coming home in third spot today, Cameron Shields.
It's a gorgeous South Florida morning here at the Palm Beach International. Perfect setting to test out the new Cooper Xeon RS3 G1 tires.
It's a pretty brave move to put these tires on straight-up race cars.
The racetrack is the perfect scenario for this particular tire.
All day they were great, super predictable on the breakaway.
The tires, they seem like they have a lot of grip. You'll get a lot of use out of the tires.
For 15 seasons, the Castrol Toyota Racing Series has led the way in New Zealand motorsport. With 170 drivers and 276 races so far, the graduates have made their mark in international motor racing. This is the pathway for the world's young drivers. And this series hits the racetracks of New Zealand for 5 weeks every year on the quest to find the next world champion.
Look at this freight train as now the Lucas dives down to the inside. 3 wide through turn 4. Cut the sky again.
Road to Indy, beyond the grid.
Hi, my name is Nikita Lastichkin. I'm from Russia, Moscow, and I live in Los Angeles. And I also drive for Exclusive Autosport, car number 90, Indy Pro 2000. I'm from Russia originally, but I moved to California when I was 16. Yeah, it's been pretty wild. What can I say? Living in Los Angeles for about 10 years now, I have a lot of history with the city, and I always thought it would be super awesome to just run through the entire city with all the streets closed out. You know, I've been planning to do this for a couple of years, and I ran a full marathon at under 4 hours. It's just an amazing experience. When I'm not at the racetrack, if I'm not doing something racing related, I'm trying to do anything so I'm not thinking about racing. So perhaps traveling. I like taking road trips, going to museums. I like reading books. I like playing video games. So fun stuff like that. I married my wife quite a few years ago, and she's amazing, and probably the best decision I made in my life, and have yet to regret it. It's been great. Little did we know, we actually discovered that we used to live across the street from each other back in Moscow, which is a huge city, 12 or 15 million people, something like that. And yeah, we used to live across the street. Follow me on Road to Indy, and you can follow me on my Facebook, Instagram, Nikita Goes Racing, and on Twitter, Nikita Goes Racing. But that's because there's not enough characters, not because I'm a gangster.
And to present the winner's trophy, also from Elite Engines, Miss Julie Flatley. Thank you, Julie. All the way up, onto the top step. You can't reach Hunter, he's a big guy. The big bird, a great racer, a wonderful day for Paps Racing. And we're going to get, where's Augie Paps? Let's get Augie up here as well in a few moments. First of all, Augie, let's have a word with you. You're a local guy here, local team, lots of local support. You've won here before, but what a great result for you today.
This is fantastic. You know, we failed to win a race last year. We're back here at our home track. We have a 1-2 finish with the two boys. What more could we ask for?
Yeah, last year your guys started on the front row grid and they kind of got together, didn't they? But today they read the script properly.
They did it exactly as we asked, and I couldn't tell you, we couldn't be more happy.
Congratulations to Augie Paps. And for the big bird, for Hunter McElroy, wow, this is a big day for you.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing I can say is just a weight off my shoulders. You know, I knew I could do it. I knew I had the team to do it and the people to do it. It was just a matter of time. So today was amazing. First pole, first win, and I think this is the start of momentum for the rest of the year. So I'm speechless.
Just a little bit.
It was straightforward. Me and Colin worked together really well. Our plan was, we knew we had pace over the whole field, so we just worked together and got a gap, and then we raced from there on. So it was amazing. My Mazda USF2000 was amazing, and my Cooper tires held up so well throughout the whole race as well. So massive thanks to everyone who makes this possible for me. Probably the best balanced car I've ever driven. So it was just a pleasure to drive.
Thank you, Jeremy Shaw. Our podium celebration down at Victory Lane. Don't forget to...
Road to Indy 101.
All right, we've gone further back into the Dallara facility here in Speedway, and now we're in the simulator room. I've got Bryce from Dallara Group here with me. He's gonna show us what this is all about, and he's here to answer questions. So right off the bat, what is this? What do we have here?
Alrighty, so this is a professional F1 aerospace graded simulator. It is one of 3 in the entire world of its kind. There is one here in this facility and 2 over in Italy. So we've got actually 3 different models that we can test at this one. Right now the mock-up that you see in it is an Indy Lights IndyCar mock-up. Different car models are mathematically inputted into the software up in the control room. Basically you can change any type of setup that you would want to run in a matter of seconds with the amount of technology and everything that's involved.
What are the advantages of doing a sim day here as opposed to driving the race car in real life?
Cost effectiveness. You know, you don't have to rent out a track. But if you crash a simulator,
you
can get started back up again in 30 seconds, and you're not losing any parts. So we've got a 180-degree screen that's ran by 3 projectors. You'll notice that there's different speakers too. When we turn it on, you'll hear, I mean, it even sounds like a real car. There's a big bass booster back here.
Okay. Let's say if I was going to come do a test day how would we fit me in here so that it's exactly like my race car?
Yes,
Do I bring my own seat and all that?
Yep.
Yeah.
And we would change, I believe these are the IndyCar side pods, and we would throw on the Indy Lights side pods and get it all set up to, you know, make sure you are as close to being in the real car
as that same tactile sensation, same feedback. Like you belt them down, you got to wear a helmet and everything, the whole thing. The real question, has anyone ever been sick in this thing, in the motion?
So yes, there are some guys that they suffer from motion sickness, and sometimes it's not the best thing for them. So, but the sim also has the option to be a stationary platform. So most of the time, and if that's the case, then we just make it a stationary platform.
This has been a behind-the-scenes tour of the Dallara simulator here at the facility in Speedway, Indiana. Thank you, Bryce, for giving us the tour of the facility. It's been very informative.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Hope to see you in here for a session sometime.
Yeah, we'll have to set that up. Looks pretty fun.
My name's Brian Hallahan. I'm the team manager of Newman Walks Racing. I've been with the team since 2006, back when it was Champ Car Atlantic Series. After that, Paul Newman, when he passed away in 2008, we decided to race one final year. We ended up winning the championship, first and second the championship there, and then we stopped racing for about 4.5 years. When the new Tatis came out, Eddie Walks gave me the opportunity to start racing again, and we've been at it ever since.
My day-to-day duties here are I'm responsible for all the car setups, data analysis. I work with another data engineer here, Dan Toborg, and between the two of us we go through and look at what the drivers are doing, what the data shows, do the setup work, and then just oversee the general performance aspects of the car. When they're young, and as young as some of the drivers we see in this paddock, they're very moldable. They listen, they're ready to learn. Newman Walks Racing, we have really experienced people. We work hand in hand with our young drivers, trying to teach them some of our knowledge.
It's been great working with the team so far this year. We've had a lot of success. Yeah, it was hard at first. It's a new engineer, new car, new series, so there's a lot of stuff to learn. There's a lot to learn about the car and just rules about the series as well. So the team, Brian the manager, John my engineer, and Tom driver coaching, between all of us, they really helped me and bring me up to speed. We've made a lot of progress as the year has gone on, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can produce.
I've never really been on a team this big, so it's really cool to have all these different people, and everyone's super helpful, and everything's been running really, really smoothly. Everyone on the team works really well together. It's been a really smooth start to the season so far.
At this level of racing, an open wheel formula, it's probably one of the toughest in the world. I mean, you got some of the best drivers coming. The cars in the competition are very close. It's a great thing. I mean, it's not. I don't think any other series in the world offers that to the kids.
Hi, I'm Toby Sarry from Cambridge in the United Kingdom, and I'm racing the number 2 McElroy Indy Lights car. I'm from St Neots, just outside of Cambridge in the United Kingdom. I grew up in a place called Melbourne, which is about 20 minutes away, so it's still fairly local. And yeah, I'm out here racing the Indy Lights. The way I got into racing was just primarily for fun. It happened to be a karting party when I was maybe 6 or 7 years old. So it wasn't anything like put in, follow my father's footsteps at a young age sort of deal, just purely for the love of the sport. In the UK, I do instructing work, so I work for MSV, which run half of the tracks in the UK as an instructor. So if someone wants to learn how to drive, I sit next to them and teach them and try and bring them on. I'd also do some mechanic work for karting teams that I used to race with. I'm still very heavily involved in motorsports outside of my own racing, just purely for the love of the sport. So outside of racing, I hang around with a small group of friends that I have. Obviously racing travels a lot, so having some local friends is difficult, but I've got some very good racing friends locally that I play some pool with, go to the pub occasionally, not too much, being a racing driver, but yeah, so it's a very chilled atmosphere outside of the racing. Take your mind away from the serious sports side and just let your hair down a bit. I'm looking forward to Road America again. Obviously, we had a very good result last year, so I think going back in a slightly quicker car is going to be a new challenge. But obviously this weekend, you know, being an F1 circuit as well, it's always something that you look forward to, and it's a great facility, and you know the atmosphere so far is incredible. Follow me on the road to Indy. You can follow me on social media on Instagram at Toby Sowry and at Twitter on Toby Sowry Racing.
Said he is looking to try to get another victory here, running for Able Motorsports from Red Deer, Alberta, Canada. Your pole sitter with a 2:01.1248 lap, Parker Thompson, the Canadian, in the number 8, starting on the pole position. Thompson and Robb on row 1, Kirkwood and Frost row 2, Lint and Rodriguez row 3, Dennis and Lastechkin on row 4, Loomis and De Oliveira row 5, Enders and Saravalli row 6, and on row 7 it will be Finelli. Again, folks, 13 cars ready to go here. Every one of these engines built by the staff at Elite Engines, and Steve Knapp joining me down here once again. And it's time to fire these up. Let's pass it over, the call to fire from Mr. Knapp.
On behalf of Cooper Tires and Anderson Promotions, drivers, start your Elite engines.
And again, these beautiful engines coming to life. 280 horsepower, the PM18 Tatis chassis, all on Cooper tires. Let's get ready to roll with Indy Pro 2000. We'll throw it back up to the booth and Eric Miller.
Thank you, Rob Howden. A fantastic
It's a gorgeous South Florida morning here at the Palm Beach International. Perfect setting to test out the new Cooper Xeon RS3 G1 tires.
Pretty brave move to put these tires on straight up race cars.
The race truck is the perfect scenario for this particular tire.
All day they were great, super predictable on the breakaway.
The tires, they seem like they have a lot of grip. You'll get a lot of use out of the tires.
For 15 seasons, the Castrol Toyota Racing Series has led the way in New Zealand motorsport. With 170 drivers and 276 races so far, the graduates have made their mark in international motor racing. This is the pathway for the world's young drivers. And this series hits the racetracks of New Zealand for 5 weeks every year on the quest to find the next world champion.
Harrison Scott crossing the yard of bricks. Huge wreck.
As well here at Road America. Race number 2 tomorrow, Sunday, at America's National Park of Speed for this Rev Group Grand Prix presented by AMR. But Indy Pro 2000 pace car up underneath the Corvette Bridge. And we'll head to the back half of the race course. And they will be coming to the green flag from the guest of Elite Engines, Dennis Arneson. We'll get to throw the green flag. Please welcome again Dennis Arneson, a guest of Elite Engines, throwing today's green flag for the Indy Pro 2000, presented by Cooper Tires, the Cooper Tires Grand Prix of Road America, powered by Elite Engines. Had a couple of great green flags and checkered flags from our guests from Elite in the last race. We'll see that again, I'm sure. Dennis all set to go here on the starters bridge on the main Road America straightaway. Field now working their way through the carousel. You can kind of feel the anticipation build as we wait for Rob Howden to settle back in, but we were talking earlier about Parker Thompson, Stingray Robb in a battle on the front row. Parker Thompson struggling a little bit the last few rounds and finally putting together a solid qualifying effort, starting up front, kind of avoiding the middle of the pack scramble. at the start is going to be critical. But Parker Thompson, kind of finally just settling in and putting together some really good, solid laps back to back in that qualifying session yesterday, and to put himself on pole for today's 15-lap Cooper Tires Grand Prix of Road America.
Yeah, the interesting thing, of course, about Parker Thompson and Able Motorsports, a brand new team, absolutely zero data coming into any event. They don't have that, bank of knowledge they can go back to. They don't have that baseline. They take an educated guess, figure out what they can do to come to the track, and then build from there. Interesting this weekend, of course, for Able Motorsports, they have hired the veteran engineer and well-noted Tom Knapp to manage the program. He and Parker Thompson blending nicely. And they obviously have a pretty good car. Didn't quite have the speed to qualify on pole for race 2, but Parker looking to capitalize here. The drivers will work their way out of turn number 14 as we set to go racing now. Indy Pro 2000, second rung of this Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. And again, Thompson on the inside, Rob on the outside, working their way up the hill. It's going to be the drag race down to turn number 1. Let's hope they get through cleanly. Here they come again. As we said, we have one of our guests ready to throw the flag up here. Dennis Arneson, I believe, is going to throw the flag. And we're underway. Green flag flying. Green, green, green. Tremendous start for Parker Thompson. The big move from the back as well for Daniel Frost from P4. Tuck the exclusive Autosport car to the inside. Call it 4-5 wide coming down into turn number 1. Do they get through cleanly? Had some contact there in USF2000. A bit of dust up there. Couple drivers, yeah, there was contact for sure from someone. They're further back. Trying to pick up who that was. That's a slow car coming through. That's one of the exclusive Autosports cars. I'm not sure if that is Daniel Frost or Nikita Lestishkin. If it was Lestishkin, we'll see. He started a little further back. I think that Nikita, let's find out exactly where he started. I believe it was,
Frost,
indeed,
actually.
8th position. You think it was Daniel Frost? It is.
Frost.
Daniel Frost, who had made a pretty aggressive start. We'll see whether or not he continues through here. He had some trouble coming. I'm not sure if he's coming through 5 or if he's done over in 3. Daniel Frost, who had an issue at the very end of qualifying for race number 1, an incident coming through turn 7, very similar to what we just saw from Graham Rahal as he looped the car, dropping a wheel on the outside. He went around. Daniel Frost, I believe, out in turn number probably 3 at this point. We saw him coming down the hill, made it to 3. Based on one of our timing screens, it looked like he is stranded in 3. So again, Daniel Frost, who was coming off the victory at Lucas Oil Raceway, he will bring out the full course yellow. So indeed, we don't have the visual of it, but Daniel Frost in the number 68 machine off the track in turn number 3 likely. Wasn't able to get far enough off the racetrack. Damage to that car. Eric, in watching the opening corner, maybe we can see if they can give us a replay of that. It didn't seem to me like coming through turn number 1 there was any kind of an issue.
They were bottled up a little bit. A pretty aggressive start, but nothing out of the ordinary.
No. He did make a move to the inside, coming across the line, tried to get to the inside of I believe, Kirkwood. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see the replay. But nonetheless, we're probably not going to be able to pick much up. It could have been just more on the exit, but Daniel Frost, who again had the issue, looped the car, clockwise spin coming out of turn number 7 in the qualifying run yesterday afternoon and made pretty significant contact with the concrete retaining wall on the right side of the track. Team did a great job getting the car back together and having him back out for qualifying this morning. But nonetheless, he is out here on the opening circuit in that number 68 machine, driver out of Singapore. Once the field does eventually get back around down to turn 3 on the monitors, we'll likely be able to see where he's stranded. But I'm sure that the track crew and the AMR safety crew out there to get him off the track safely and quickly so we can get back to green flag racing.
Looks like he's gone off to the grass.
Here's the shot coming down here of turn number 3. Can't see anything from this particular area.
Yeah, it looks like it's just beyond, or just shy of the Sargento Bridge. And he pulled off the driver's left, it appears.
So again, whether it was a mechanical issue with the car itself or whether or not there was actual damage to the machine, that's it for Daniel Frost. He'll tumble to the tail of the field, the driver who came in here in 2nd in the points championship. So definitely a hurt for him. That said, Rasmuth Lent, the driver who is the point leader, currently running in the 6th spot. we're going to see ourselves with a pretty good battle. Parker Thompson trying to fight his way back into this fight, this championship battle. And, we'll talk a bit about Parker Thompson when we have the opportunity, running for Able Motorsports. Worked his way into the road to Indy, coming out of karts with JDC Motorsports, battling for Rookie of the Year with a driver who would eventually be his teammate, Anthony Martin. Next year they would team up to run at Cape Motorsports. Martin with the championship, Parker coming up just short.
Just going to kind of break in from our race coverage here, Rob. Elio Castroneves is actually here today, signing autographs right now down at our corporate pad down between turns 5 and 6. So if you'd like autograph from Elio Castroneves down at the corporate pad, just got underway here at 1 o'clock.
I saw Elio earlier today. Great to always see him here. Just one of those smiling faces you love seeing in the NTT IndyCar paddock.
Something tells me as well our good friend Michael Young has probably got something to do with this, but I see that Colton Herta has already had a tricycle accident over in the family fun zone.
Oh, no. All right, well, that's a bit of an issue. Yellow flag out there, too, probably. Again, Parker Thompson, who leads the way here, as I said, coming through USF2000, and the kind of where I'm going with this is the fact that he's been charged with the task of building a bank of data for Able Motorsports. Their young driver, Jacob Abel's run a couple races this year, also running this weekend in an F3 event at another facility. He'll be going full-time next year in Indy Pro 2000. So the idea for Parker is, hey, come on in here, give us all the experience you have, let's work together. Let's set our bank of data. We need the information so that when we get ready to race again in 2020 with Jacob and whoever else, we're going to have the data we need. And again, Parker up to the task for sure. They were able to win at St. Petersburg, as we said. A little bit of trouble. They didn't quite have it. Again, when you start with really no proven baseline, you don't know which way to go. They battled throughout the road course weekend during the IndyCar GP event at IMS, and Parker really kind of picked it up and drove it to a couple of top 5 finishes, which were pretty solid finishes for him. Same thing when they went to the oval. They just didn't have the right oval setup, didn't have the feel, and he just didn't have the pace. Dropped him down to essentially 3rd in points. Now, coming back to a track here, a little more comfortable with his facility. He's been good here. They bring Tom Knapp on to help in the engineering side. Obviously, it's paid off. Back to green as the drivers have gotten single file order. Parker Thompson will lead. The pace car ducking on off, and away we go right now. The two Juncos Racing drivers getting ready to battle it out for 5th and 6th. That's Stingray Robb and Rasmuth Lint. They're battling for 5th and 6th right now. They're going to start tomorrow on the front row together. Rasmuth on pole, Stingray in 2nd. We got a battle for the lead, and indeed, Kyle Kirkwood's gone to the outside of Parker Thompson. New leader to 1. Kyle Kirkwood getting the start, the jump at the start. He went around the outside of Parker Thompson. Kirkwood, your champion from USF2000 last year. Excellent job for him to grab that lead early. The question, can Parker Thompson come back now, Eric?
In this situation, maybe Parker's best choice right now, just kind of ride behind Kyle a little bit, just kind of let these tires settle in. Obviously, cool cycle a little bit. You get a heat cycle with the green and then a yellow flag. So an obvious opportunity to maybe kind of save the tires, save these Coopers till the end.
I don't know. Watch it come up through turn 6 here. Ian Rodriguez and Moises de Oliveira are right there. He doesn't have any cushion to play with whatsoever. Kirkwood actually stretching out a little bit, but Moises de Oliveira and the D-Force Racing number 6 putting a ton of pressure here on Ian Rodriguez. It's the two Juncos cars, Stingray Robb and Rasmuth Lint right behind. Philippe Dennis runs 7. And Nikita Lastishkin now in the 8th spot. 9th is Enders, 10th is Loomis. So Antonio Saravalli, they had some kind of an issue with the engine. Earlier today, they were not able to get it fixed. He is not taken to the track. Neither, I believe, has Charles Finelli. So 2 drivers not able to make the call here for race number 1 of the doubleheader in Indy Pro 2000.
Parker Thompson looked like he was kind of falling to the clutches of Rodriguez, but it's now started to create a little bit of a gap here as well.
There's a pass at Canada corner right there. I think that was Stingray Robb trying to make a move on De Oliveira. Couldn't pull the trigger, though, all the way to the inside in Canada corner, the right-hander at the end of the kettle bottoms.
It almost looked like he and his teammate, Lynn, may have made some contact on the exit of 12 as well.
I wonder. They were kind of dodging left and right. That's actually Lint now up into the 5th spot. Count Lint to 6th, Robb to 2nd. Kirkwood now with about 0.8 of a second on Parker Thompson. But Thompson with 0.6 on Rodriguez. That's probably going to be more important if Thompson gets some open track. Now, again, Parker Thompson may also say to himself, I want this win. but a second-place finish wouldn't be the worst thing either. Again, he's here to bring the car home with no damage, to get as much information as they possibly can. And right now, Parker Thompson running in second. If they finish where they are on the racetrack right now, he's going to be back about 12 points from Rasmus Lindh. Still more to come, though, of course. Daniel Frost, who started this day in second in points, will fall likely to third in points now, currently in the 11th spot. Look at this fight further back. 2-3 wide coming out of turn number 5 up the hill.
3 wide into blind 6.
Yeah, close your eyes. That's Dennis and Loomis and Lastishkin, I think, going at it.
Patience, the better part of valor.
Oh, my. Wow. Corey Enders just watching that happen in front of him right now. Nikita Lastishkin for Exclusive Autosports. Better qualifying run. Qualified 4th for race number 2. Currently in the 7th position. He's watching that fight in front of him with Stingray Robb. And actually, it was a fight at one point. It is no longer. Rasmus Lindh's been able to stretch away from Stingray. Now that we're into 4 laps, let's see what kind of times we're rolling out here now. That's, the drivers have been able to bring the tires up to temp. They've kind of settled into their positions. Rasmus Lindh, though, getting aggressive. He's already pulled up onto the wing of
Delavera.
Move to the inside.
Delavera shuts the door.
He does. Comes across the bow from left to right. Says no to Rasmus Lindh. Delavera holding on. Last time by, Kirkwood a full second faster than Parker Thompson. Wow. Let's see if Thompson can step it back up here. Always interesting for me to watch the way the lap times develop. Even when the drivers aren't in the middle of battles, you can watch them slowly close up. How is the platforming and the setup starting to develop? Kirkwood and Thompson both getting low into the 203s. A 203.4, new fast lap as Kirkwood goes purple, but Parker Thompson right there, 10th off. No, about a second the gap between first and second. Rodriguez doing a great job as well. He's been able to gap Delavera, who's got his hands full with the 2 Juncos cars. And in fact, Delavera backing Lindh up into Robb again.
Gap still about a second back to Parker Thompson. Kirkwood doing a nice job just kind of minding the gap right now.
I love it. If we're watching the video, look at this battle right now. This is just tremendous to watch. That is from Delavera in 4th back to, I believe, Loomis now, Jacob Loomis. So that's 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, all scrapping it out, nose to tail essentially. And, of course, just in front of them, you've got Rasmus Lindh and Stingray Robb trying to put some pressure here on Moises Delavera. Obviously, folks, the program here, the Road to Indy, run by Anderson Promotions. Anderson Promotions, also the management crew and staff of the Battery Tender Global Mazda MX-5 Cup. They've got their autograph session going on right now in the MX-5 Cup tent from 1 o'clock to 1:30, right here in the start of the pits by the Victory Lane. Just head on over there from 1 to 1:30, all the drivers from the Battery Tender Global Mazda MX-5 Cup signing autographs right now. So if you're walking around the paddock, head on over and meet the drivers from MX-5. Finally, I believe we've got the move by. Indeed, Rasmus Lindh's been able to get by Moises Delavera, but that battle has allowed that top 3 to pull away. Indeed, they've got a pretty good gap. What's it back to? 3.5 seconds now. So indeed, front 3 drivers have checked out. Kyle Kirkwood, again, turning a quick lap of a 2:02.867. But this fight further back, I mean, everybody's together. From Delavera all the way back to Enders. Essentially nose to tail. Here they are coming down the 3. There's a move to the inside. Lastishkin in the number 90 Exclusive Autosport had a big look to the inside of Delavera over in turn number 3. Nikita's going to make the move to the inside coming up the straightaway as well. They go under the Sargento Bridge into turn 5. Lastishkin trying to go after 5th. Does he get it? Here goes the top 3. Rasmus Lindh side by side. And indeed, coming up the hill, again, a little bit of touch coming up the hill. Lastishkin on the inside. He should be able to take the position, and I believe he does. Nikita Lastishkin now into 5th. No, he does not. From the outside coming up the hill, Delavera holds him off. This time, Lastishkin on the outside, side by side through turn number 8. This is a scrap for 5th position. What a battle. I like this. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th right there. De Oliveira, Lastishkin, Rob, Loomis, Dennis, and Enders. These guys, what a race so far here in Indy Pro 2000. Lining them up. This has allowed that lead trio to pull away. Kirkwood, Thompson, and Rodriguez separated by just 2 seconds total. De Oliveira really tossing that car. You see him toss it in there to Canada corner. Eric had that thing rotated before he even got to the turn in.
Not sure if that's a result of maybe a little bit of understeer and having to kind of trail break it in a little bit, try to open up the hand a little bit. But Stingray Rob running at 7th spot right now seems to be kind of struggling a little bit. Lastishkin was really putting the pressure on, and they swapped spots a few times here on the front stretch side by side, but it just looks like Rob is just not comfortable in that car right now.
It's almost like he's out of rhythm a little bit. You know what I mean? He's made a couple of moves. He's tried to get the car to stick, and I think they're all just getting held up a little bit here by Enders. I mean, rather by De Oliveira. De Oliveira does not want to give it up at all coming through turn number 1. I have a feeling that if Lastishkin's able to get by, then it'll just be Rob next. I think Moises De Oliveira is doing whatever he can to hold everybody at bay.
But quite the gap between De Oliveira and Lintz. So Lintz certainly pulling away here as well. 4th, really putting a gap on about 3 seconds between 4th to 5th.
Yeah, indeed. And that's what it is. They're all held up behind De Oliveira. I honestly believe that you're going to see a pretty aggressive deep break and move out of Lastishkin pretty soon. That's what he's got to do. Again, he gets beside him. This time, De Oliveira getting a little weak on the side. He'll try to pinch down on Lastishkin. Again, a bit of contact at 6. I think this time Lastishkin potentially by. Still side by side.
3 wide.
And I think, there's a grass
Loomis,
run there.
Loomis
and through.
got pushed off into the grass in 6.
So De Oliveira up the hill trying to hold off both Lastishkin and Rob. They get by. Loomis tries to get by on the inside as well. And coming back across the racetrack, it looked like De Oliveira essentially pushing Loomis off a little bit. And again, there goes Lastishkin. He's gone. De Oliveira was doing everything he could to hold back those guys. And once they're past, Lastishkin, who's now into the 5th spot, stretching away. So Nikita Lastishkin in the exclusive Autosports number 90 out of Los Angeles, California, up into the 5th spot. Rob follows him through to 6th. 7th now De Oliveira. 8th Loomis. 9th Dennis. And there's 10th place Corey Enders. All on top of each other. Such similar lap times. Everybody running in the low 205s in this battle. And that's it, though. You know they're faster than 205s, but when you're in the middle of a fight like that, there's nothing much you can do.
Well, you're also driving a little bit more defensive line. You're not
Exactly.
necessarily on a true racing line. You may be running in the middle of the road. You're kind of keeping your hands closed a little bit off of exit just to try to narrow the gap off of apex exit as well. So you're really trying to race the mirror just as much as you're racing the person in front of you.
There you go. Lastishkin and Rob both down to 203s this last time by. As soon as they were able to get by De Oliveira, Loomis is going to try to be smart. Again, he's trying to gain information. His first year in the program. Don't want to throw away a good result. Don't want to damage the race car. We're trying to learn how to be in this. It's only a second event. It's a privateer effort out of a small 20-foot trailer in the back of the road to Indy paddock. He's trying to see if he can't work his way up into 7th. Kyle Kirkwood, though, this is a race that he needs, and I guarantee you that because he is going to start on the pole for tomorrow's race. Kyle Kirkwood, the 28 for RP Motorsports Racing, trying to get that first win. Ran with Cape Motorsports last year, won the USF2000 championship. Weren't sure where he was going to take the Mazda scholarship. Ended up with RP Motorsports, as I said, a team that's based in Italy, actually. They came over to run the Indy Pro 2000 last year, the second year in the series. And Kirkwood needed a win. He had some rough luck in both the races at St. Petersburg and Indianapolis. He ended up with opening lap wing damage that sent him down pit lane, and that's just been tough. Oh, there's contact. Big driver off coming down through the carousel. We got major contact coming through the carousel. We got gravel everywhere. Somebody hardcore off into the trap. See if we can go back there possibly. Driver off. You can see the dust still coming through the trap. Coming through. That could be De Oliveira. We're not quite sure. We got full course yellow coming and trying to figure out who it is down there.
Yeah, I don't see De Oliveira at all.
The 6 of De Oliveira. If we look here, indeed, that's Moises De Oliveira. like I said, folks, he was holding everybody off.
Well, he and Loomis was starting to kind of peak coming through
Indeed.
6, and then again peaked in 8. And again, we talk about just getting momentum out of 8. And if they were side by side on the carousel, it's real easy to get pushed wide as the car being overtaken. If you get stuck on the outside, it's very easy to make some wheel-to-wheel contact. You're in the marbles, as our good friend David Hobbs likes to say, clag. You get to the outside, and it's real easy to get sucked into that gravel trap.
And Eric, you mentioned it when we were talking about USF2000. That carousel, it's not like it's a bank corner. It's an off bank. It's off camber. So you're coming through that corner. If someone gets in the back of you, or if you're trying to, like you said, you're a little further outside the line, pretty easy to lose the rear of that car. All I saw was a huge plume of, probably not smoke, most
gravel.
likely just the gravel getting kicked up into the air, the dust from the gravel as he went into the trap there. And he went well off the racetrack. Moses De Oliveira did.
Well, it's certainly past what we would call the apex rumble strips in the exit of 10, so probably a little bit closer to the straightaway portion just before the Henry Repeating Arms Bridge.
So more like coming out of the exit contact between the two drivers. Yeah, there's a shot there.
It would be on
That's
exit,
7.
I think.
That's 6. That's 6. That's 7. When we get around to the carousel, good possibility we'll see some tracks. We may not see Moises De Oliveira. We could get a chance to see the tracks off into the gravel. But again, regardless, full course yellow with now 6 laps remaining. Again, this race for the drivers in the Indy Pro 2000 category scheduled for 15 laps or 40 minutes. Still a lot of time on the clock. 8 laps down, 7 laps to go. If you look at your monitor, we're saying 9 laps here, but essentially still 7 laps to go. It'll be 6 when they come back around. There's a shot coming down through turn number 7. It's been a precarious part of the racetrack here this weekend. Couple drivers going off there, getting through the rumbles. Parker Thompson trying to see if he can't come back. Here's a shot coming out of turn number which is carousel, turn number 10.
Yeah, so
9 and 10 combo, right?
So the shot we're looking at right now is from 11, basically the king, looking straight back towards the Henry Rifles Bridge, and you can see a little bit of flashing light in the distance to driver's left, right on the edge of the end of that gravel trap. So it's very likely that I don't want to speculate, but it's very likely that that at the very least, Loomis got into the marbles on the outside and just kind of got drawn into the grass a little bit, which then just kind of takes you into the gravel trap.
Meaning De Oliveira.
De Oliveira, rather.
Or was it the side-by-side racing potentially?
Could very well be, but in that situation, De Oliveira with contact and off course over in turn 10.
Race control has a lot more access to cameras and replays than we do, so we'll leave it up to race control to see exactly what happened here. But nonetheless, the aftermath is this. Moises De Oliveira, who at one point was running in the 5th spot, but was really and truly holding everybody back because he was doing everything he could. But simply put, they were coming by. Nikita Listishkin was finally able to get by. Stingray Robb. It was Jacob Loomis he was battling with. Philippe Dennis and Corey Enders were right there as well. But with De Oliveira off into the gravel trap, Loomis moves up to 7th. Dennis goes to 8th. Enders to 9th. And really, how does this reset things? Does Parker Thompson have anything for Kyle Kirkwood now? It didn't appear to. Kirkwood's been turning amazing lap times. Can Rasmus Lint now potentially make a run at Rodriguez to get, I think, into that 3rd spot? So really it opens up the podium again for Rasmus Lint, kind of gives him another opportunity. Or does it help a driver like Nikita Listishkin? Because Listishkin has been showing great speed, qualified well for race 2. They're getting quicker throughout the weekend.
You know, I don't think the lead for Kirkwood's in danger here. I don't really think that Parker Thompson really has much for Kirkwood at all. But Listishkin, Lind, and Stingray now tied up 4th, 5th, 6th. That's the interesting battle. I think that's where you may see Listishkin and Lind have a little bit of a battle because they were being held up by De Oliveira there for a few laps. Now that Listishkin's right on Rasmus Lind gearbox, that may be the trend that we're going to see go fast.
And Nikita's hungry for a podium. I'm telling you this right now. He wants a podium here. He wants to show that he can run with these guys. He wants a podium. Now, this is kind of interesting. This is kind of shaping up kind of nicely right now. Obviously, we look to see our drivers work their way through the Road to Indy. We want to see them get to the NTT IndyCar Series. Well, let's put it this way. Our first race of the Road to Indy, who wins? Scholarship winner. right? Hunter McElroy's got the Mazda Soul Red colors. He was our scholarship winner. Who's leading here right now?
Scholarship winner.
Scholarship winner. The champion from last year, Kyle Kirkwood. Who's on the pole for Indy Lights?
Scholarship winner.
Renus VK. So the Mazda scholarship winners, part of this Road to Indy scholarship program, right now, all three of the drivers who essentially have won the scholarship to move forward looking tremendously well. And, of course, Pato O'Ward, not too bad here this weekend as well. I think he was top 10.
But it certainly proves the point of how fortunate the Road to Indy program has been.
No doubt.
For a lot of driving talent.
Well, it's what it's for. It's designed to get these drivers moving forward. The scholarships give them that opportunity to take the next step, whether it be from USF2000 to Indy Pro, from Indy Pro to Indy Lights, or from Indy Lights, then, of course, into that limited program in the NTT IndyCar Series. We watched Kyle Kaiser move from Lights before. We watched Ed Jones, guys like Gabby Chavez, Spencer Piggott, guys that have moved forward and have represented the program so well. De Oliveira's car getting finally off the racetrack. We're going to go back. I'm going to say probably, if we're lucky, we could go back to green this time by. That would put us at, 10 laps down, 5 laps still to go. But, again, interesting to see the potential of having all of our scholarship drivers on the top step of the podium here. One's already done with Hunter McElroy. We're not done here yet with Kyle Kirkwood because I guarantee you that Parker Thompson's going to throw everything he can at him. But the guys that have won scholarships, those reigning champions, excelling so far today here at Road America. Still lots of racing to come. This is only the second event of the 6 races within the Road to Indy here this weekend. 3 today, 3 tomorrow. We'll break the silence. Eric will say good morning. You guys pour a cup of coffee, and we'll go USF2000 racing at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Worked pretty well for a qualifying session this morning. It was a dandy of a session, was it not?
We love qualifying, a lot of excitement. And that was actually Hunter McElroy who won today, ended up doing a last lap run to grab the pole. Here they come again, out of 14. Yeah, indeed, folks, we're going to have ourselves a 5-lap dash. Away we go, back underway. Green.
Stingray Robb to the inside of Listishkin. Look to the inside, peek back in, and tuck back in behind.
Well, both Junko's cars, because you've got Lint right on the gearbox of Rodriguez, Robb on the gearbox of Listoshkin. Here they come down into turn number 1.
Lint to third around Rodriguez, battling Thompson now.
The outside. He went around the outside.
Had to tuck back into third, though.
Wow. And no, that's Parker Thompson back to 4th. Rodriguez able to get by Thompson. Thompson goes to P4. Rodriguez up into 2nd. Lint goes to 3rd. So Ian Rodriguez attacking. Flip the script. Ian Rodriguez and the RP Motorsports car. RP Motorsport 1-2 in Kirkwood and Rodriguez. First time down into 5. They'll line him back up again. Listishkin trying to go after Parker Thompson coming up the hill. Nikita Listishkin going after Thompson. That's the car Thompson drove last year, the number 90 exclusive Autosport machine. Thompson up on the wheel. Ooh, he's got the elbows up right now. Indeed he does. And there goes Stingray Robb around the outside. That was a deep move, trying to get the car to rotate. Listishkin still on the inside. Very luckily he didn't throw it off. That was late on the brakes on the outside for Stingray Robb. He had that thing crossed up, trying to get it to rotate out of 8. All this chaos behind him. And Kyle Kirkwood saying, see you later. He's already out to probably about a 1.5 seconds, maybe more lead. His teammate Ian Rodriguez running in 2nd, little buffer. Rasmuth Lint running in 4th, would hold on to the point lead. This would put Parker Thompson back by about 16 markers. Still a good run from Parker, but P4, not what he wanted. No, actually, Rasmuth got around him. That's going to change things. It's going to be a bigger lead for Rasmuth now. Parker going back to 4th, did not get a good restart. Listishkin still holding on to 5th.
And speaking of which, Stingray Robb.
Oh, hey, hold on. Look at this. There's the issue right there. Sorry, you were right. Stingray Robb falling back, Eric. Go.
Yeah, Stingray Robb was just falling back. I just noticed that Loomis had got around him and through Thunder Valley. He's back around Loomis, back to the 7th spot, but Stingray Robb with a little bit of a bobble in the backside.
Yeah, I wonder what happened. Let's see if he's clean coming through turn number 1. He got back around Loomis. But, yeah, he lost a spot to Philippe Dennis as well. So Stingray Robb is going to start off pole tomorrow.
Loomis looks to the inside. He's got problems.
There's an issue.
Yeah.
That's what I think we saw going down into 8.
Car looks really unsettled right now in the braking.
You wonder whether or not a tire potentially going down, something going on potentially with the brakes as well.
Back by Loomis on the exit, but he's having a hard time getting into the corner.
Keep an eye out for Stingray Robb. He's having trouble. He's up there in the points as well. Here come your leaders through. Lesteshkin's still putting some pressure here. He's gone back by.
It's time Corey Enders putting a little pressure on Loomis to the outside, side by side for 8th and 9th.
Loomis, I think, is going to hold that spot. No, indeed. Around the outside comes
Corey Enders.
Corey Enders. So put the D-Force driver now up into the 8th spot. This is some pretty tremendous racing. 1.3 seconds the lead for Kyle Kirkwood over his teammate Ian Rodriguez. But with that flip-flop, remember I told you it was down to about 19 points. We'll bump that up to 25 points now, the lead for Rasmuth Lindh. Remember, Daniel Frost actually, as they finish now, will drop to 3rd. Parker Thompson will go back to 2nd. Still more racing to come. And from here, just, 3 weeks down the line, we're in Toronto on the streets.
And with another round yet tomorrow,
yeah,
you've got the potential for Kirkwood to even jump around Frost, depending on
there goes
scenario.
Lesteshkin trying to the outside of Canada corner to get Parker Thompson. I'll tell you, Nikita, he's got some confidence in that race car now, has he not? He's been trying in different parts of this racetrack, trying to go around the outside with Thompson defending to the inside. We're going to get fights for 2nd, and we're going to get fights for 4th before this thing's all done. And still that battle between Jacob Loomis and Corey Enders.
Felipe Dennis continues to pull a little bit on Stingray Robb. Battle for 6th and 7th as well.
Let's look at lap times this time by, see if Stingray's down to where he needs to be. Yeah, see, he's back down to a 2:03.9, similar times to his teammate Lindh. But, man, the car just looked so unsettled at one point. I don't know what happened there, because he had the trouble in turn 8, did Stingray Robb. Then an issue as well, as you said, coming down into turn number 2. It settled back down. He's been able to pull away from Enders and Loomis, but just looked like it was out of sorts. Maybe he just caught a lot of marbles up on the tires potentially. I don't know. Nonetheless, he's settling back in. Stingray Robb, P7. Where he sits right now would put him 4th in points.
You actually bring up a really good point. Lost that spot for Stingray Robb in Canada. Very possible maybe went drivers right trying to get around and picked up some debris on the tires.
Potential, yep.
And just had a hard time getting that cleaned off by the time they got to turn 3.
Parker Thompson's been able to give himself a little bit of breathing room now from Nikita Lesteshkin. But Lesteshkin has Philippe Dennis now fairly close. Dennis took within a second. So we may see a fight now for 5th instead of 4th. As indeed, Parker Thompson stretching out a little bit here. Those Cooper tires coming back up to temperature. 3 laps remaining. It'll be 2 to go this time by.
1.8 second lead for Kirkwood. Kirkwood is just in another zip code right now.
Yeah, 2:03.2s. 4/10 quicker than Rodriguez. A half second faster than Lindh. No one close right now to Kyle Kirkwood. That RP Motorsports Titus PM18 is on rails. And when you give a car that good to a guy that reset the single-season victory record in USF2000, topping J.R. Hildebrand's record that stood for so many years, the confidence is there. Kyle Kirkwood's got what it takes. Doesn't quite have the budget necessary, I think, to probably keep moving. He's going to have to work hard. He's going to have to impress a bunch of people and try to find the partners he needs to keep on with his career. Very good friends with Oliver Askew, both drivers from Jupiter, Florida. Both drivers at one point ran for the same karting operation, Ocala Grand Prix, the OGP team down in Florida. And again, trying to hopefully follow in the footsteps up to Indy Lights, as Oliver Askew has done, the newly crowned Freedom 100 winner. Truly, though, Eric, I don't think we're done with this battle yet for 2nd spot. I think Ian Rodriguez and Rasmuth Lindh are going at it. I'm not sure, though, if I was Rasmuth, I'd want to roll the dice too much, because I think Rodriguez really wants the 2nd position. His 2nd weekend with us here.
You know, and obviously with race 2 yet coming up tomorrow morning, last thing you want to do is throw away a car that is very stout for Lindh.
This is it, too. Yeah, don't damage damage tomorrow. Talk about this program being an international field. First time we've ever had a driver from Guatemala, and that is Ian Rodriguez. Had some experience running in Euro Formula Open in Europe, a number of different categories in Europe and Italy. Really has taken to it over here. Had a pretty good run, actually, on the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but this has been impressive. really enjoying the track here at Road America, but man, Rasmuth Lint right with him. Tremendous battle here for second. I said, I just don't think we're done. I think Rasmuth will throw something at him sooner or later. There's enough places to pass here, and you can get the job done fairly safely. You don't have to just force the issue. And he's all over Rodriguez now.
Looks to the inside in 13.
What? Looking to the inside, coming up on a
blind uphill over crest. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, sure.
We talked about how tough that corner is. As you come over the hill, the rise there, the car totally unloads. The car's rolling to the right. You got to bring it back to the left for the turn 14 brake and right-hander. White flag being shown to the drivers. Final circuit here. Kyle Kirkwood leading by 4 seconds. Dominant run for Kirkwood. Parker Thompson has closed back up on Rasmuth Lint. Are we going to get a shot here for third for Parker Thompson? Indeed. Look how close he is coming down here through 2 to 3. Thompson underneath the Briggs and Stratton Bridge. Rather, the Briggs and Stratton sign coming through turn 2. There's the Sargento Bridge. Let's be real. That's the bridge there. The other one is not. Oh, Thompson's close. Good battle further back. Listishkin and Dennis.
Dennis looking to go around Listishkin.
On the outside. Yeah, into turn number 5.
Puts him on the inside into 5.
Here they come. Parker Thompson's through. Thompson gets by for P3. Parker Thompson back to 3rd.
Listishkin maintains 5th spot. Dennis back to 6th.
He did, indeed. And this has also allowed Jacob Loomis to come back up in it.
That's Stingray.
Well, that is Stingray, Rob. Sorry. This race has had so many storylines. Guys going back and forth.
This is a crazy battle.
Probably should put a little more emphasis on Kyle Kirkwood, but the battle's all been behind the young driver from Florida. Parker Thompson, a huge final circuit. Stingray, wow, looks to me like Rasmuth has a bit of trouble coming through the carousel, pushed wide a bit, little understeer mid-corner.
I think there's a little frustration here from Stingray Robb being hung up behind Felipe Dennis in that battle for 6th and 7th. I would not be surprised to see Stingray try to dive out here to driver's right, coming to the inside of 12 if he's got a run.
Hold your breath. Here he comes to the inside, side by side.
No, Dennis shut the door.
Back to Kyle Kirkwood, folks. Let's go back to that driver. And in fact, Parker Thompson closing up big time here on Rodriguez. Will we get a drag race to the line? I'm not sure, but Parker Thompson, here comes Kirkwood up the hill. Thompson's not close enough. Back-to-back wins, folks, for the scholarship winners here this weekend. Hunter McElroy wins in USF 2000. Kyle Kirkwood, his first victory in Indy Pro 2000, and it comes here at Road America. RP Motorsports Racing, first and second. P1, P2 for the operation. Parker Thompson, that last lap pass of Rasmuth Lint moves him up into 3rd. 4th is Lint, as I said. Nikita Listoshkin 5th. Philippe Dennis in 6th spot. Stingray Robb 7th. Jacob Loomis 8th. And Corey Enders rounding out the 9 drivers, capping off the day. Kirkwood wins by 4.7 seconds. An incredible run for Rodriguez. His best finish as well. And looking at the points, Rasmuth Lint finishing in 4th, holding on to that point lead, 151 points. But just 19 points back. Parker Thompson, a solid recovery, chipping his way back into it. And then Daniel Frost still will be 3rd position, but with Stingray Robb back by just 6 points. Daniel Frost, of course, the contact on the opening lap. But Eric, pretty impressive run. Kyle Kirkwood becomes yet another winner here in 2019 in Indy Pro 2000. Fantastic run for him, his first win in the series.
Well, you look at his record in USF 2000 coming in to this season, here moving to Pro 2000. No question that there's a little bit of expectation for himself to be up front, and I think this kind of solidifies exactly where he wants to be.
Well, like I said, just some bad luck for him. Honestly,
yeah,
it's not like he hasn't been fast. He's had great speed. He was strong at St. Petersburg, unbelievably quick at the road course at Indianapolis. Got a penalty for jumping the start, moved him back in one race, lost a wing in the other race. The bad luck's been there for Kyle Kirkwood. Not here today at Road America. He gets things underway with a victory in the first round of the doubleheader. For Indy Pro 2000, Kyle Kirkwood with the win. Rodriguez second. Parker Thompson, an important pass in the final lap to get Rasmuth Lint in turn number 5. Lint, your point leader, holding on to that gap. P4 in the final order. Nikita Listeshkin. Listeshkin in 5th. Dennis 6th. Robb 7th. Loomis 8th. 9th is Corey Enders. 10th, Moises De Oliveira. He and Daniel Frost not able to make it to the end.
Of course, Antonio Saravalli and Charles Finelli, as we said, issues that were avoided them from being starters in this particular race. Eric, one more race still to come. Indy Lights up next.
Indy Lights race number 1 of the weekend. We'll do it again tomorrow as well for Indy Pro 2000. The Cooper Tire Grand Prix.